Hello and welcome. You're watching News 9. I'm Shweta Kothari. Breaking news coming in at the top of the broadcast. At least 4 people have died and over 30 are injured after a major fire erupted following a boiler explosion at a chemical factory in Dombivili in Thane in Mahrashtra. The incident has been reported at the chemical factory in phase 2 of the Dombivili Mahrashtra Industrial Development Corporation complex. As per initial reports, 4 boilers of Amber Chemical Company exploded, triggering a massive blaze. Visuals on your screens of the fire that is currently being contained. Due to the fire, drums containing chemicals bursted, shattering window panes of nearby houses. A brigade call was issued and 8 fire engines were dispatched to the scene. The injured workers have also been transported to a local hospital. Teams from the Thane Civic Body's Regional Disaster Management Cell and 13 personnel from the Thane Disaster Response Force have arrived at the location. Efforts are currently ongoing to control the blaze. This, remember, comes days after that massive hoarding in Ghatkopar collapsing, killing at least 17 people and injuring more than 75 people. Another major disaster-like situation currently being catered to in Dombivili in Maharashtra, where 4 people have died and more than 30 are injured after that massive fire broke out in an industrial area. Cabinet Ministry has now assured of permanent solution to the problem. We are also hearing that the explosion ripped through Dombivili industrial area, shattering glasses. Fire brigade is currently tending to the situation. Scary visuals, of course, of that massive fire on your screens at this point in time. Maharashtra Disaster Management Authority is trying to cater to that fire. We'll try and get you more details as and when they emerge. But moving on now, gold continues to flirt with regional record levels. In the first 4 months of 2024, RBI added 24 tons of gold to its reserves. 24 ton is 1.5 times the total 18 tons of gold RBI bought in all of 2020. With this, India's gold reserves have surged to over 822 tons, making us the 9th largest in the world, just behind the US, Germany, Italy, France, and a few other countries. And it's not just our central bank that is lapping up the yellow metal. China has been on a shopping spree as well. So far in 2024, China has accumulated 29 tons of gold. And during the past 18 months, China's holdings have increased by 316 tons, taking its gold reserve tally to over 2,000 tons. So are India and China responsible for driving up global gold prices, or is there a gold rush that India and China are both after? Let's take a look. In recent years, geopolitical tensions have reached a tipping point. It all started with Russia invading Ukraine way back in February of 2022. The unrest spilled over to West Asia with skirmishes between Iran and Israel's war against Hamas. Not to mention the ever-contentious trade relationship between the US and China is also heating up once again. All these conflicts have shaken investor confidence, driving many to seek refuge in gold. But why gold? Well, throughout history, gold has been seen as a safe haven during times of uncertainty and geopolitical upheaval. Unlike paper currencies, gold holds intrinsic value and doesn't rely on any government stability. It's durable, universally accepted, and tends to maintain its value over a long time. So when the world seems uncertain, investors turn to gold as a way to protect their wealth. And the strategy seems to have paid dividends. Gold is up 14.5% so far in 2024, outperforming equities which have delivered returns of about 5%. So let's get to the age-old question, should you buy gold right now? Experts suggest that given the possibility of heightened volatility, gold, which is also reaching new highs, might be a worthwhile investment. As a part of a diversified portfolio, gold can act as a hedge against inflation and macroeconomic uncertainties. While waiting for the perfect investment price is always risky, it's even riskier with alternative assets like gold. Considering the current economic climate, incorporating gold into your asset allocation could provide stability and protection against market fluctuations. And shifting focus now to Byju, which is once again in the news. Byju, the edtech giant, is currently battling fresh issues. A US bankruptcy court has pulled up Riju Ravindran, brother of Byju Ravindran, for concealing about $533 million. Now, a US court has imposed penalties on Riju Ravindran for contempt of court after he refused to disclose or ascertain the location of the $533 million in terms of the loan proceeds. The case pertains to a $1.2 billion loan that the company has raised in the US in 2021 when it was expanding. My colleague Karthik Malhotra sums up the Byju saga so far.
It's a curious case of once the most valued Indian startup now down to a fraction of its peak value of $22 billion. But a dip in valuation is not the only problem staring Byju's right in its face. In fact, go down the long rabbit hole and there's no wonderland, but a quicksand that's sucking in the founder and the only remaining board members. Who are these board members? Byju Ravindran himself, his wife Divya Gokulnath and his brother Riju Ravindran. In the pit of that quicksand is a crocodile. Lenders that once gave Byju's Alpha, the edtech's US subsidiary, a $1.2 billion loan in 2021 when Byju's was on an expansion spree internationally. But Byju's was neither able to repay the loan nor the interest on it. In fact, it forced lenders to take Byju's Alpha to the US bankruptcy court in the District of Delaware last year. In a hearing in March this year, Judge John Dorsey asked Riju Ravindran to declare where $533 million from the $1.2 billion proceeds of the loan were stashed. On May 22nd, 2 months after issuing the order, Riju Ravindran now faces contempt of court for not declaring the whereabouts of the hidden or perhaps stolen $533 million. Now, in the midst of this borrowing of money, diverting money and hiding money was a hedge fund that went by the name Camshaft. The hedge fund manager, a William Cameron Morton, barely in his 20s, who apparently helped hide the money, has reportedly fled the US, citing medical reasons to prevent from getting arrested. Riju Ravindran, like his brother Byju Ravindran and sister-in-law Divya Gokulnath, has shifted domicile to the UAE, living the rich life in Dubai. Now, UAE doesn't have an extradition treaty with the US, so an arrest warrant against Riju Ravindran, the sole director of Byju's Alpha, won't help. The conspicuous silence of the allegedly conspiring first family of Byju's raises one simple question. Have they stolen $533 million, which is worth about 4,400 crore rupees at today's exchange rate? Judge John Dorsey's statements definitely seem to suggest so. Here's exactly what he said. Quote, I conclude Mr. Ravindran's testimony is not truthful. He either knows where the funds are located or is intentionally avoiding obtaining the information from other sources. I therefore find that he is in contempt of my previous order to provide the information. It's time for Byju's to come out of the hiding, break their silence and own up the mess they've created. Problems at Byju's are aplenty. It's time to take tough decisions and clean up that mess. As the king says in Alice in Wonderland, begin at the beginning and go on till the end, then stop.
And that, of course, is Byju's problems that continue to be unending at the moment. You see a question mark at the picture of Byju Ravindran, that is, and Riju Ravindran for that matter. That is because we don't know who or what Riju Ravindran looks like. We were not able to identify him. He is a ghost, is not in the media. And with that, it's time for a short break. We'll be back with more stories on the other side.
The game of power politics has begun. The poll bugle has been sounded. Who will receive the death blow? Who will be checkmated? It still remains to be seen.
ये दिखाता है This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
How do you fulfill that promise? Because ultimately expectations have to be met. If you look at the political landscape, is it really changing for women? And what is the inability of the forces that dead bodies surface, but not the dead people?
Welcome back, you're watching News9 Live. For those looking to study abroad, changing visa rules have just made your life tougher. Indian students have long chosen countries like the US, UK, Canada and Australia as preferred destination for higher education and higher studies. In fact, of the nearly 10 lakh Indian students studying abroad in 2024, 8.5 lakh went to one of these four countries as per the Indian Student Mobility Report 2024. But the recent changes in visa regulations are pushing Indian students to look beyond. And what are these changes? Let's find out. US issued more than 1.4 lakh student visas in India last year. But getting a US visa appointment slot is nothing short of a miracle, if not a stroke of luck. A few days back, US opened 10,000 student visa slots in Hyderabad. All appointment slots were taken in 5 minutes flat. Those who logged in a few seconds later were left in the lurch. The Consulate General in Hyderabad has now said that student visa season will be extended by at least 2 more weeks. Cut to the UK, the second most favoured student destination. For the UK now has introduced new restrictions on the postgraduate research students, bringing their dependents, and it's a bummer. Moreover, a higher salary threshold for foreign workers to access skilled visas has resulted in students losing job offers from multinationals like HSBC and Deloitte. Another concern, of course, and it's a brewing one, is Rishi Sunak's review of the graduate route for international students, which allows them to seek employment in the UK for at least 2 years after they graduate. Now, Indians were the largest beneficiaries until the new rules will now make it unattractive if Rishi Sunak's will is to prevail. And then there is Australia that attracts students from China, India and Philippines the most. The Australian government now wants to make sure that foreign students come to the countries to study and study alone and not just in search of work. The genuine student test has now been introduced. Moreover, students must now show at least 29,710 Australian dollars, which is approximately 16,24,000 rupees in today's exchange rate, to get that student visa. Further, the government will also now impose a no further stay clause, which will limit working options or hours of working options for immigrant students in the island continent. Now, as students grapple with these obstacles and weigh in the pros and cons, some emerging countries are offering more favorable visa policies to attract more international students, particularly Indians. For example, Germany, France, Ireland and Italy have in fact relaxed their visa regulations. Ireland now offers a 2-year post-study visa for international students. France has introduced a 5-year Schengen circulation visa for Indian alumni, providing them with extended opportunities for travel and work anywhere within the Schengen area. Italy has also now allowed, in fact, Indian students to have temporary residence in the country for up to 1 year after their studies to gain professional experience. And Germany too has now extended its post-study work visa to 18 months and relaxed its part-time work permit to 20 hours from the existing 10 hours earlier. The relaxed visa regulations in emerging study destinations make them appealing to Indian students who are seeking international education as well as opportunities to subsequently work. Now, Indian students spent nearly $34 billion on their education abroad last year. Therefore, it will do the big fours, US, UK, Canada, Australia, good to not ignore the India advantage. And once known for commanding top paymasters from the world, IIT students today are struggling to even get a job. Nearly 4 out of 10 from the class of 2024 in IITs are jobless. My colleague Krishna Kumar tells you the details.
The IITs, India's premier educational institutions, a place where companies usually flock to recruit students, is now in the middle of a crisis. Thousands of students passing out this year have not found any jobs. So much so that nearly 4 out of 10 from the class of 2024 are jobless. Bear in mind, this is an institution where companies land up a day before the campus placement season begins, eager to lap up the best talent that's passing out. So what exactly is going on over here? Data disclosed from an RTI filed by an IIT Kanpur alumnus has revealed that this year, over 7,000 IIT students are yet to find jobs, with just a little over a month left before campus placement season closes. Even at older IITs like IIT Bombay, 300 to 400 students finishing undergraduate and postgraduate courses are yet to be hired. At IIT Delhi too, there are about 400 students who are yet to find jobs. In total, around 38% of IITians across all 23 campuses in India are yet to get jobs. That's almost double of last year, when around 21% failed to get jobs. And the year before too, around 19% did not get placed during campus placement season. While the number of students sitting for placements is up 1.2 times over the last 2 years, the number of students who are going unplaced or jobless is up 2.3 times. But why? For starters, large IT services companies who form a bulk of the hiring have decided not to hire from campuses this year. The last time the country's largest technology services companies shied away from campuses was during the global financial crisis back in 2008. Meanwhile, companies that had overhired during the boom of 2021 and 2022 are now busy laying off staff. Placements are down 20 to 30% this year across all major educational institutions in the country, not just IIT. And there are a few key factors attributed to this. It's the first year of placements after the sudden burst of generative AI and ChatGPT, which is helping companies cut down on the number of people needed to do a particular job. Also, this is a major election year, not just for India, but for many other countries across the world. And so, companies in India and across the world are in a wait-and-watch mode and not exactly hiring with full force. This placement crisis is taking a toll on the mental health of the students. In fact, 6 IIT students have died by suicide this year. And the administration is resorting to some serious damage control efforts. IIT Delhi has contacted its alumni for assistance in placing the current batch or recommending graduates to companies seeking engineers. IIT Bombay and the Birla Institute of Technology and Sciences, or BITS, have also reached out to their alumni. The appeal requests alumni to support students by offering jobs, providing referrals and recommendations, and extending internship opportunities, if not actual jobs.
And with that, it's time for a short break. We'll be back with more on the other side. Keep watching News9.
Forever, there are simultaneous election of Parliament, Assembly and Municipality and Panchayat. So that framework has to be given in the Constitution. That amendment has been suggested.
Are you going to take away the power of dissolution?
I mean, it doesn't require any rocket science to do this. It's a simple constitutional amendment, and the idea is everything goes together.
The Law Commission has set the ball rolling for one nation, one election. Basically, if all goes well, then India may see simultaneous elections to Lok Sabha, state assemblies, municipalities and panchayats in 2029.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Welcome back. You're watching News 9 Live. I'm Shweta Kothari. In yet another tragic incident in the outskirts of Nagpur, a 3-year-old boy was mauled to death by a pack of stray dogs. He was left bleeding and motionless. A passerby saw this, but by the time he reached the scene of the attack, the toddler was hardly breathing. The child was rushed to a nearby medical facility where doctors put him on a ventilator, but declared him dead within 10 minutes. It's not the first time a precious life has been lost to the menace of stray dogs. It probably will not be last either, unless we, the people of India, raise our voice and seek government interventions to put an end to the stray dog menace once and for all. Just look at the number of incidents that have taken place in the recent past. In Nagpur alone, 6 dog attacks have occurred this year, including a recent incident where dogs ripped off a 6-year-old child's ear at the police headquarters. He was the son of a police officer. Despite this, no policy measure has been implemented to prevent such attacks. Remember Parag Desai, the 49-year-old owner and executive director of Wagh Bakri Tea, who was another victim of such an attack? Well, Desai succumbed to a critical head injury while he was trying to escape a stray dog attack during his regular morning walk. In yet another incident, a 2.5-year-old girl died after being attacked by 2 strays at a construction site in Hyderabad recently. Scary visuals flood social media timelines every other day, showing dogs attacking young children in streets, inside lifts, and in any other random place, night or day. Stray dog menace is not just a public health concern, but a life-threatening one. How many more cases need to get reported for authorities to finally wake up to this concern that has plagued India for decades now? We don't know. If you want data, here it is. Believe it or not, World Health Organization estimates that millions of attacks by stray dogs occur in India each year, resulting in tens of thousands of annual deaths from rabies alone. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare reported a staggering 27% increase in dog bite incidents, 2.75 million incidents in 2023 alone. Kerala witnessed the highest percentage increase in cases of dog bites in 2023, with the number of incidents rising to 63,458 in 2023. Delhi, the national capital, recorded a 143% jump year-on-year in dog bite cases, totaling to about 16,133 incidents this year alone. India's solution to address this problem is in accordance with the 2001 Animal Birth Control Rule, which asks municipal bodies to neuter and vaccinate dogs to control their population. Is there an audit on how many dogs are vaccinated? Is there data on whether we've been able to control the population and explosion of stray dog menace? It's time for change. It's time for action. It's time for Indian streets to be safe for India's children. It's time for accountability. And with that, it's a wrap on this show. Thank you for watching.
I don't think anybody has isolated Ajit Dada Pawar. Ajit Dada has isolated himself.
That led to a lot of bad blood between the ruling partners.
It is not true. You know it very well, who these elements are, who these individuals are. And these are the very reasons why you see a division in the party.
Now this contest between